How are we doing, ladies and gentlemen? It is Wednesday already. The Bulls are back in action yet again tonight against the Blazers. Important, but more importantly, it is Hot Takes Wednesday. Now, if you're new to the channel, which we've had a lot of new subscribers recently, and welcome to all of you new and old Bulls fans to the channel, but every Wednesday, I feature and react to your Bulls hot takes, so feel free to leave any takes you have in the comments below, and I just might include it in next week's video. Also, if you're coming onto the channel for the first time, consider subscribing, as I have set a very aggressive goal for myself and trying to hit 20,000 subscribers before the end of the year. And according to my channel analytics, about 55% of you watching are not subscribed. So if you like the content and you like daily Bulls content, then hit the subscribe button. Also, shout out to my bookies for sponsoring this video, but more on that in a little bit. So what's going on, everyone? You are listening to Bulls Central here. Hope you're all doing well. Let's get us kicked off with our first hot take, which comes to us from Scary Australian. This is going to be a really hot take. Bulls will trade for Ben Simmons. Now, yes, he isn't really a good offensive man, but I think how I do, he is a really good playmaker and an incredible defender. And if he got his act together and started putting up good numbers, could make us title contenders. So I think I followed all of that correctly, but look, here's the thing. If you follow my channel for a while, you know that I was all about the Bulls taking advantage of a buy low opportunity with Ben Simmons prior to free agency. I wanted him over Lonzo Ball, I'll be the first to admit that. And yes, you're right, when Simmons' head is on straight, he's an incredible defender, one of the best in the league, and an elite playmaker, and despite not being able to shoot, he's actually an okay scorer when he's driving to the basket. But the fact of the matter is, and I said this, once the Bulls got Lonzo, the ship sailed on Ben Simmons, and to be honest, it's for the better. The Bulls have no reason to bring in Ben Simmons now with Lonzo Ball. Lonzo may not be as good as Simmons is in the playmaking department, but Lonzo's defense is great, and he can shoot the ball. Whether he shoots well consistently is a different story, but at least he's not terrified of shooting the basketball. And second, my wanting Simmons was also before all of the drama really started to ensue. It became more and more clear that something is off with Ben Simmons, and it's very possible he's struggling with mental health, and I would never want to downplay someone's struggles in that area, and I hope that he is okay mentally, but either way, it's just not a situation the Bulls should take on. The Bulls have a good thing going with this roster that they have. Yes, it's not perfect, but Ben Simmons and the baggage he carries with everything going on, the fact that he doesn't seem to be fully engaged and invested in the game of basketball, which is not someone I want at all in the Bulls, and also the baggage of his massive contract that still has 4 years left on it. No, trading for Ben Simmons doesn't make sense for the Bulls based on the current construction of the roster and culture that they are trying to establish. Next, we've got Undercover GSW Stan. Solid name choice. Also, these takes are from the Discord, and I know Discord members have been harping on me for not using their takes. And guys, join the Discord. It's a great community of Bulls fans. I had a sub by the name of B Cubs start the Discord some time back, which I very much appreciate. So join the community. The link to the Discord can be found in the description. But anyway, the take, well, I actually addressed a DeRozan for MVP hot take last week, I believe, so I won't belabor the point here. In a nutshell, though, unlikely DeRozan wins the MVP unless the Bulls finish with the best or second best record in the league and DeRozan keeps balling as he has been, while Lavine kind of sits as a 1B option, which I don't think will likely be the case once his thumb injury fully heals. But as of the second part of your take, this being DeRozan's best season of his career, I mean, it's certainly possible. Really, the best season of his career in the heyday of the Raptors days was in that 2016-17 season. DeRozan finished averaging 27.3 points per game, 5.2 rebounds, and 3.9 assists, but it was not on the same kind of efficiency that he's been putting up thus far. He was shooting 46% from the field at that time and 26% from three. DeRozan this season is averaging similar scoring numbers, but shooting an insane 51% from the field, and get this, 37% from three for a guy who has never been a three-point shooter. And granted, it's only on 2.5 attempts per game, but he's actually been somewhat efficient from three. On top of that, he's averaging more rebounds and assists than he did in that season in Toronto, and he's also shooting from the free throw line at a much better rate and turning the ball over less. So yes, if DeRozan can maintain this level of play, or close to it anyway, for the rest of the season, this would be the best season of his career. The question is, can he maintain that over the course of 82 games at his age? Next, we've got Haterade. Lonzo wins most improved player. Notice I'm still doing the Discord takes, by the way. Take note of that, Discord gang. I mean, I think we've had some similar takes in the past to this. I think, Lonzo winning the most improved player of the year is probably unlikely unless he keeps putting up performances like he did against the Lakers with that insane shooting. I think the thing preventing Lonzo from winning most improved player is that he's just been a little too inconsistent especially as it relates to his offense anyway, to where I think he can certainly receive some votes for most improved player, but winning it, I think that'll be a tall order. Before I get into the next take, though, a quick word from the sponsor of this video, MyBookie. MyBookie is an online sports betting platform that enables you to bet on sports with an edge. So for me personally, I'm always looking for a way to get an edge, but MyBookie, they're giving you an edge right off the bat by doubling your first deposit, so you start with a leg up. Head to MyBookie and sign up now using promo code BC23 to get your money doubled. That's right, they're going to match your first deposit when you use my code, and you can start winning today. And as an added bonus, if you have your buddies use your referral link after you sign up, you're eligible to receive an additional 250% bonus on their first deposit. Plus, it's unlimited to redeem, so all your friends can join the party at MyBookie. Use my promo code BC23. Sign up now, claim your first deposit bonus with MyBookie, and use the extra funds to kickstart your winning season. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie. Now with that, let's get back into the takes. So our next take comes to us from Cam 10-10-7-7. This team will win more with Caruso as the starting point guard. Lonzo should play point guard, small forward off the bench. Well, I do think you sent this take before Billy Donovan made the switch to have Caruso in the starting lineup, but either way, I do think there is a value to Caruso in the Bulls starting lineup because it gives the Bulls some more defense, more veteran leadership and experience. But as for Lonzo coming off the bench, no, I mean, I know we've been a little disappointed with Lonzo's inconsistent play, and he hasn't really been the playmaker we were thinking he was going to be so far anyway. Having Caruso start over Lonzo just wouldn't be a good call, because then you sacrifice scoring in the starting unit, and the cohesion the team has been able to develop and build with Lonzo. I do think, Caruso being in the starting lineup when the Bulls don't have Vucevic makes sense, but not after Vucevic comes back. I think he's a better fit leading that second unit. Next, we've got Edmund Posada. The Bulls will trade P. Will and Derrick Jones Jr. for Christian Wood. I love P. Will, but he will help so much. He meaning Christian Wood. So the thought of trading for Christian Wood is interesting because the Rockets are in a full-blown rebuild and tank mode. And does a guy like Christian Wood make sense for their long-term plan? And you're right, Christian Wood would be a big help for the Bulls to address their front court issues, given his size, his scoring ability, his strong rebounding, and more recently, he's also shown to be a decent rim protector. But a couple of problems. One, the Rockets know they can likely get more for him than just P. Will off an injury and Derrick Jones Jr. And for the Bulls, I think they're still fully committed on Patrick Williams. This was their number 4 overall pick, AK's first draft selection as the new executive. He's still only 20, and despite the injury sidelining him, they have high hopes for the kid and his potential. So yes, it sounds like a good trade in theory, but I really don't think either team would make the move on this one. Next, we've got Kenneth Hill. Bulls will not lose more than 3 consecutive games this season. Ooh, I like this hot take. It makes me think back to those days in the early Tibbs era where the Bulls just refused to lose 3 straight no matter the circumstances. And to be honest, I could see something similar with this group, of course, barring any major injuries, because we have seen the Bulls bounce back after having a bad loss or two and coming hungry to the next game to get back on track. To be honest, I thought it was possible that after what we witnessed with the Bulls losing to the Warriors after losing Vucevic and knowing that they were going to be playing some better Western Conference teams on the road, I really did think it was a high likelihood that they were going to lose multiple consecutive games until Vucevic got back, but they turned it around right away against the Clippers and didn't seem fazed at all by playing without their starting center. And a bounce back like that gives me confidence as a fan to say, yeah, this team is probably not going to see a long losing streak this season because 1, they have too much talent, and 2, they fight through adversity and won't allow for a slump like that to happen. And then finally, they're playing their toughest stretch of schedule now, which would necessitate a longer losing streak, and the Bulls are still winning consistently. Next, we've got 2 consonants back to back. I'm thinking the T is silent, so we have Krosner. With the emergence of Io and the injury to Patrick, the Bulls will trade Coby, Troy Brown Jr., and a first-round pick for Sabonis or Jerami Grant. Well, I love this trade for the Bulls, but I'm pretty sure either the Pistons or Pacers would just laugh in the face of Acme if this trade was ever proposed, because you're talking about a player who just came back from an injury, who we don't really know if he will in fact be back to form from what we used to see, which hopefully he will, but for an opposing team making a trade for him, that's a risk. And then Troy Brown Jr., a guy who has been out of the rotation and really has been kind of disappointing so far this season. It's funny because before the season started, I always said that these two players, Coby and Troy Brown, have the highest trade value of those coming off the bench because of how young they are and the upside potential, but I really don't think teams are chomping at the bit for either of these guys. And the first round pick you mentioned, I mean, really the only first round pick the Bulls have that they can trade is that first round pick that they acquired in the Lowry Markkanen sign-in trade, and that's a lottery protected pick, so the best that pick will convey to is number 15. So no, the package as a whole is nowhere close to being enough for guys like Sabonis or Jerami Grant. Let's do one more, and this one comes to us from Malik JC. If we would have gotten past the Cavs in 2015, if the refs didn't miss the Blatt timeout, we would have won it all. The Hawks were pretenders, and Rose and Jimmy match up well against Steph and Clay. Ooh, man, I love this take, although it pains me to relive that missed timeout by Blatt. And it's funny because I don't think too many people talk about that as one of the biggest missed calls in NBA history that would have been the difference in the Bulls getting eliminated in the second round and Tibbs getting fired to the Bulls potentially going to the finals for the first time since the 90s. Like, I remember when that happened thinking, how could the refs blatantly ignore that they were looking right at Blatt trying to call a timeout when the Cavs didn't have any? The Bulls would have gotten a free throw to take the lead and the ball, win the game, and take a commanding 3-1 series lead against the Cavs. Instead, LeBron goes down the other end and hits the game winner, tying up the series, and the rest, of course, is history. And yes, I know the Bulls would have only been up 3-1, and it doesn't mean that they would have won the series over the Cavs, knowing games 5 and 7 would have been in Cleveland, but come on now. The Bulls would not have blown a 3-1 lead after two huge games like that at the United Center. It just wouldn't have happened. I completely agree the Hawks were pretenders despite finishing with the best record in the league. They did, of course, get swept by the Cavs in the Eastern Conference Finals, and I think the Bulls would have easily been able to take them out. But where I do disagree with you, though, is the Bulls beating the Warriors. Sure, Rose and Butler would match up decently against Steph and Clay, but you also have to remember this Warriors team was in their absolute peak and firing on all cylinders on their way to the title. And the 2015 season was a struggling year for Rose, despite hitting that crazy game winner in the playoffs against the Cavs, and he wouldn't have been able to be a good matchup for Curry. I think the Bulls would have made a good series out of it, not saying that they would have been swept, but that was a really good Warriors team in 2015, and I can't see the Bulls taking them out. Again, had the refs called the timeout by Blatt, who knows, maybe we would have seen what that would have actually transpired and looked like. I guess I should stop probably dwelling on that moment in the past in Bulls history. Anyway, I'll end it there for this week, guys. Appreciate all of those who left their hot takes. Sorry if I wasn't able to get to yours. I will try to get it next week. Don't forget, the Bulls will be taking on the Blazers tonight. Feel free to join the live chat. Follow me on Twitter or Instagram. And of course, as always, be sure to subscribe if you're a Bulls fan, as I do post daily Bulls content. Thanks again for tuning in, guys, and I will catch you in the next one.